All right, guys, welcome back to Olde Carr Guy. Today we are putting some new speakers in my wife's 2007 Ford Crown Victoria. Now we've got the stock replacement size 6x8s for the front doors, and we are upgrading to 6x9s on the rear deck. We've also got some speaker plug-in adapters here, and in no way does this install single out just the 2007. As far as I know, from probably 98 all the way up to 2011, this installation is going to work for you. So we're going to go through all the steps. Now, back a couple of years ago, we did do a speaker install on Grandma, and I think that video is going to be linked up here. That one was not as in-depth as what this one's going to be. So let's jump right into it. And here's the tools that you're going to need to do this project. I'm going to start with either a drill or a drill driver, a nut driver or impact. You're going to need a Phillips. You're going to need a T27. You're also going to need a 7mm socket as well as a 5mm socket. A couple of upholstery tools, the pry bar as well as the one for the Christmas tree plugs. This is an electrical clip pair of pliers. You don't have to have those, but sometimes they help. A small pick, channel locks, and a screwdriver that's going to take a bit, preferably the Phillips bit. Hopefully this makes the job go a little bit easier. So let's get to work. So first thing you want to do is make sure your door pockets are cleaned out. That way that stuff's not flying all over your shop. Then you want to grab your pick and pick out this little tab that's on the inside of your door handle, and that will reveal the T27 screw that you've got to get out of there. Once the screw is out, you can just grab a hold of your door handle and give it a little pull out, and it's in your hand. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this little plastic triangle out of here, and if you can't do it with your hands, grab a hold of your plastic upholstery tool and just kind of get in behind it and give it a little bit of a snap. Hard to do with one hand, and it should fall right out of there. Now we switch over to our 7mm socket, and we've got one to take out here and two on the bottom, one there and one there. Now once again, with your upholstery tool, you're going to want to take this panel off that controls your door locks, windows, and mirrors. Do not pry from the back. There's a tab that goes underneath. If it's not already broken on your car, which it probably is, you don't want to break that tab off. Start from the front. There's a pressure fit clip in here. So you're just going to get in there, give it a little bit of a twist, and then pull out towards the front. There's that tab, and on this one, it ain't broken yet. Surprise, surprise. Now you can go ahead and unclip the electrical plug-ins. Okay, at this point, we've got our plastic triangle taken out. We've got the 3 screws, the 7mm around the bottom taken out. We've got our T27 screw and our door handle taken off, as well as our window switches unplugged here. 2 more switches you got to be concerned about if your car has them: power seats and your trunk release. There's also one more 7mm right down in here. You're going to want to take that out. Then the trick is grab a hold of the door panel just like this when you're standing up and give it a yank upwards. And this thing should, if you've taken off everything, pop right off. Let's do it. Okay, so now that we're in here, we notice a couple of things. One, somebody's already upgraded these from stock. These are Kicker two-way speakers. We're going to be upgrading to the Kenwoods. The other thing that we noticed is engineers suck. Why do they suck? Well, we've got a 5mm socket here. We got 5.5mm holding the driver's door module on, 7mm holding the door panel on, and a T27 holding on the door handle. Why was it so difficult? They could have used 7mm the whole way through, or 5.5. I mean, 5.5 is an odd enough size as it is, but they could have used the exact same thing throughout this whole door panel process. But no, you've got to have all these different tools. You've got to be running for them. Anyways, let's get the speaker out of the way. So a common style of installing speakers in a factory is to just roll up the speaker wire and stick it in the proper plugs. But we've got a cure for this. Let's take a look. We have got these Red Wolf speaker adapters that plug right into the factory harness and give you the plugins that you're going to need to plug in to your speaker. If you guys are looking to install speakers in your Crown Vic, I'm going to leave an Amazon affiliate link for each of the items that we're using today, the speaker wire adapters as well as the speakers. That's my Amazon affiliate store. I get a little bit of a kickback when you guys buy these products, and it doesn't cost you any more. So check out those links down below. I'll have it listed down there. So to ensure a good connection, make sure that when you plug these in, they plug in and click. That way you know the little locking mechanism is locked. And then they also come with the wide and the narrow plug-in, because your new speakers are going to be doing the same thing. That way you don't get them hooked up wrong. Let's get this speaker connected and get it back in the door. So one little tech tip that I'm going to offer you right here is the way your aftermarket speakers mount are going to be different than the factory. So these holes only are so deep as this adapter here. So what I'm going to suggest is take a small little drill bit, drill through that into the door panel itself, and that'll allow your screws to go in and not bottom out against the door panel. That way you ensure that your speaker is mounted flush against the adapter. So now that all four of those are drilled and in place, everything is mounting flush and it's not popping out away from the door panel. So another neat tip while you're in here, if your car has this pad on the outside of the door and you have an earlier model car, 98, I think they went up to maybe 05 or 6, this is an 07. If you don't have your 5-digit code, usually it is on this driver door module. And if it's not there, some people say you can find a sticker with a 5-digit number on the trunk hinge. Take a look there. Might luck out that way as well. So now that we've got this speaker installed, everything is buttoned up, all the connections are done. Now is a good time to double check. Turn your stereo on, make sure you're actually getting sound from this speaker. Because you don't want to have the door panel and everything back on and try and test it for the first time and realize you don't have a good connection on that plug-in. So now's the time to do that before everything goes back together. And speaking of everything going back together, this is where it happens. We're going to time lapse this, and then we're going to tackle the other side, and then we can move on to the rear. Guys, if you're enjoying this video, please hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to Olde Carr Guy for lots more Panther platform content, as well as C10 stuff. We've got lots of videos on that as well. Make sure you check those out. Let's get this door panel back on. All right, front speakers are done. I don't know if you saw me struggle a little bit with that one there. The connection wasn't great, and what had happened was when I plugged it in, it actually pushed the pins out on those speaker connections. But anyways, we got it in there, so it was a good connection. Again, another great reason why you should test your speakers before you button up the door, because if I'd have plugged that all in and tested it after the fact, I'd have been pulling this door card off all over again. So we tested it, sounds great. Now, we're gonna move on to the rear. Let's take a look and see what we've got back there. So guys, in the back dash, it's a little bit of a different story for me because somebody has already changed these speakers. I just popped the trunk and I checked. So let me kind of go through the steps on what you're going to need to do to get this back package tray out of the way. The first thing is we've got to get this third brake light cover out of the way. There's two Phillips screws, one on this side and one over here, and this cover comes right off. Once you've got that done, you've got to pull these two interior panels off. And the easiest way is to reach up here with your fingers and just give it a yank. It's only in there with pressure fit clips. You're really not going to hurt anything. So with those out of the way, then if you find about the middle of your seat here and pull back, you're going to find a couple of Christmas tree style clips that plug into where that hole is right there. This one is already gone because someone's been here before. So there's one here and there's one here. With these panels out of the way, the third brake light cover off, and these Christmas tree plugs pulled out, this package tray is literally going to pull right out of the way. Don't worry about this third seat belt because in behind it, there is a slot that you can fish your seat belt down through it and pull this package tray right out. Once this cover is off, you're going to see your stock 6x8 speakers bolted in to the rear deck lid. From here on out, it's basically the same as the doors. You pull those 4 screws out, replace your speaker, use your connectors for your speaker wire, and test before you put all this back together. And then you just reverse the process of putting everything back in. One thing you're going to struggle with is this cover. Where it screws in, they're a little bit adjustable, so sometimes it's hard to find the holes for the screws putting that back in. It's a confined space. I've got tinted windows. It's a little bit dark back there. Make sure you got a flashlight. Another trick is take this molding, this weather stripping, and pull it out of the way. That will help you get this panel lined back up Once it's in there and clipped into place, you just put it in place and just knock it back in. It's as simple as that. Now the reason why I say my install is different was because someone's already been here and put 6x9 speakers in it already. Well, we're gonna be taking those out and putting new ones in. Let's get into the trunk and I'll show you what they did, and it's basically what I'm going to do to make this install happen. So what they've done is they've screwed from the bottom up through the deck lid, and they've used a nut for a washer. And like I said, it's exactly what we're gonna be doing. I don't think I'm gonna film all that, but I might do a time lapse so you guys can see me struggle crawling into the trunk on my back. Luckily, we've got this big boom box here so that we can lay on. Let's get the spare tire out and get to work. I remember now why I've been putting off doing this job. I'm too old and fat to be climbing up inside the trunk of a Crown Vic. As big as the trunk is, it's not fun. Anyways, we got the speakers out, and let me show you the difference between the speakers that were in there and the ones that I bought. So these are the Pioneer speakers that we took out, and just like I had to do with Grandma, was I had to use some spacers to space this off so that this piece here wasn't crushed up against the grates in the back package tray. So we come over here to the Kenwood, and yes, it's still a 4-way speaker, but these have the standoffs kind of built in already. So what that means is we're not gonna have to mess with trying to line up those nuts with the holes. We can just kind of reach up there, put our screws in, get this thing tight. So again, I'm gonna get in there and I'm gonna struggle with getting these speakers in place. And one thing I did notice as well is that the previous owner or whoever installed these cut the plug-ins off and just crimped them in, which is fine. The other way is just a cleaner install. It's the exact same way that I did it in Grandma though. Who am I to point fingers? Anyways, let's crawl back in there, get this thing in, and get those speakers tested. Okay, so after all that, we did manage to get the Kenwood speakers installed into the rear deck, and man, does it ever sound great. I know that the microphone on my phone does not pick it up and do it any justice, and I can't record and play music at the same time anyways, but you'll have to take my word for it, this thing sounds amazing. It sounded good before, it sounds a little bit better. One last thing we've got to do is we've got to get a piece of signal wire that converts the 2 plug RCA cables into a single so that we can control the subwoofer separately from the whole system. We're gonna do that. But as it sits right now, that's how you do a speaker install in a Crown Vic. I hope that this video was informative for you. If you do, please like this video, share it with your friends, and if you're not yet subscribed to Olde Carr Guy, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I have a lot of Panther platform content out there, probably the most viewed stuff on this channel. We got lots on Dale the Truck, my 77 Chevy C10, and we're currently working on a 1987 Yugo. Yeah. And a car that we don't talk about much on this channel is my 79 Chrysler Cordoba. It's been undercover for a couple of years now. Needs a little bit of work. We'll have some videos coming on that car very, very soon. Guys, stay focused on the windshield, not the rearview mirror. I love you, God bless. Let's do it again real soon. If you guys are looking at doing one of these projects and you want some of those speaker adapters, I'll leave a link down in the description box. I'll leave a link down in the description box below so that you guys can get yourself some. It's my Amazon affiliate link. If you guys are looking at doing an install like this yourself, I'm going to leave a link to not just the speaker adapter. If you guys are looking to do a speaker install of your own, if you guys are looking at